Hey everybody, it's Bruno. Here's my new episode of MB. Be my next guest on MB by clicking on the link below and we'll contact you. So listen, enjoy the episode.
That's right. What's up, you sucker?
All right, everybody, it's Bruno and I'm really happy. I'm jacked to have my good friend Mario Toneguzzi. We kind of, on MB, this is our little program where we have a little bit of fun, but we are serious. The reason why I'm kind of happy about this is the roles are reversed.
I know.
Have you ever been interviewed before, Mario?
You know, a couple of times on radio.
Other than the police?
Yeah. Yeah, the wanted sign in the police station. But no, I have a couple of times, and it is totally different being on the other side, not me asking questions.
So none of this is scripted.
Okay, throw it out. I got to throw my thing out.
No, but we did not script it.
No.
And we've been wanting to do this for a long time, and we just released the MB series, and I'm pretty happy. But first and foremost, Mario, you've been out here in Calgary for a long time, the voice of every business out there. Humble beginnings. Tell us about it.
Oh boy, humble beginnings. Comes from Ottawa. Kid goes to Carleton University and graduates with journalism degree and moves west.
So Carleton University, that's where the K stands for quality.
Oh gosh, home of the Ravens, the Ravens' nest.
Coming from an Ottawa Eugene.
Great, yeah, it was a great pub in there, the Ravens pub. But I moved out west and was in Nelson, BC for a year and a half, and then I moved to Calgary, October 1980. And you know what's really interesting about that time is when I first moved to Calgary, the Calgary Herald had a downtown office building, like right downtown. And behind it was an old hotel called the Empress Hotel. Mm. And I was staying there for a week before I found an apartment. Well, the very first morning, I went downstairs for breakfast. And everybody, very first day in Calgary, everybody downstairs wearing a ball cap in the diner, and they're all cursing and swearing a storm, like unbelievable. I'm going, what the hell is going on? They were cursing the Liberals, they were cursing the federal government, they were cursing Trudeau, etc.
The father.
The father Trudeau. You fast forward years later, I'm looking in the Calgary Herald and looking at a business story, and the business story says, October 28th, 1980, the federal Liberals under Marc Lalonde and Pierre Elliott Trudeau introduced the National Energy Program, which led to economic chaos in the province and in the city. But at that time, I had no clue what I was getting into. And as an aside, my boss, who was from Winnipeg, told me specifically, he says, don't advertise the fact that you're from Ottawa. And for God's sake, he says, do not even tell people that you actually like Trudeau and the Liberals. Because at that time I did. At that time.
So we've converted you.
I've been converted a long time ago. Trust me.
There you go. And remember, this isn't a newscast. I have fun on these things, so you can say whatever you want. Okay. So, and you never went back. So Calgary's home.
Calgary is definitely home. I think, to be quite honest, though, my first couple of years in Calgary, I did not like it at all. And I think most of it was being homesick. And Calgary at that time was just crazy downtown. But I tried for a couple of years to get back to Ottawa. But I remember going out for a couple of drinks with an old professor of mine, actually my thesis advisor. And when I told him that I don't know if I want to stay in Calgary, and he just reamed me out. And he said, Mario, you stay at the Calgary Herald for 5 years and you can go anywhere you want after that. Well, I did stay for 5 years, but it ended up being, it's 40 years, actually 40 years. Can you believe that? 40 years this fall.
Interesting, Mario, here's an interesting fact that years later, we didn't actually know each other in Ottawa. And because you went away when I was still pretty young, because you're much older than I am.
Much more mature.
Well, yeah, you do that too. But interestingly enough, for our viewers, is that my father owned a service station in Ottawa, and I used to fill up your dad's car.
Yeah, I know.
All the time, and
Yeah.
and your brother, I got to know his name is Bruno too.
Yeah.
And so my father knew your dad quite well. And then years later, here's a true story. Not that anything else isn't true, but true story is that my father used to say, you got to get in touch with Mr. Toneguzzi's son. But I viewed Mario as like this big shot in the Herald. I mean, you absolutely changed businesses by writing an article. And I wasn't intimidated, but I was also saying I didn't want a freebie kind of thing. I wanted to earn it my way. And years later, we met. And I don't know, there's never a day that doesn't go by that we don't talk to each other.
True.
But yeah, your father was an amazing person. And what do you remember most about your dad?
Oh my gosh, I could go on for hours and days talking about being eccentric. He was really eccentric with everything he did, and he was funny that way. But the guy loved to make his sausages, loved to make his grappa, loved to his garden. You know what? And he, when he retired, it was funny because when he retired, you know, most of those guys at that age, they just can't just sit around and do nothing, or they're not, you know, the old Italian guys, they're not real snowbirds. They don't go anywhere. They stay at home or whatever.
Snowbirds, they go to the basement,
Yeah.
the cantina.
Yeah, the cantina. But he used to volunteer at a place called Nicastro's, which was a food market in Ottawa, very well-known Italian market. But he was basically working there full time. But they treated him well. You know, they just gave him a lot of food and stuff. But he passed the time, and he really enjoyed that. But yeah, he had his eccentric ways of doing things and thinking about things.
What is the one thing that makes you, keep wanting to stay in Calgary?
Oh boy.
Because you've had many opportunities to escape, especially through your profession.
Yeah, true. I think it's just the opportunity. I think, there is, granted, we're going through one heck of a time right now, a double whammy with the pandemic and with the oil prices. But I always think that Calgary has always been like the land of opportunity. I think there's that, and maybe it's an overuse and a cliche about the entrepreneurial spirit here in Alberta, but it's so true. Like, people get things done here. It's not a, I hope nobody slams me about this from Edmonton and Ottawa, but
that's
it's
all right.
not
If you get dislikes, it counts.
It's not a government town where a lot of things are handed to you, right? You have to go out there and you work at it and you get things done. And I think that's always the thing that I really enjoyed about Calgary is that entrepreneurial spirit.
Well, you know what? That's pretty much all the time we have for this episode today. Thank you for tuning in with us. And you know what? Make sure you subscribe to our MegaPixx media channel so you will never miss an episode. And also, you can follow us on LinkedIn and Facebook, Instagram. We have content almost every day. So thank you very much for joining us. I'll see you guys soon.